I'm Sai, and welcome to Ace Podcast Nation. On the channel, we've got interviews, podcasts, series, content on a variety of subjects, including mental health, football, serial killers, films, TV, conspiracy theories, writing, music, and much, much more. All our shows are available in video format at youtube.com/Ace Podcast Nation, or the audio versions are available at all the podcasting platforms. So today's show is something a little bit different. Instead of the usual format, this is episode number 6 in our Unscripted and Uncensored series, where I don't really have a run through, no script. It's completely unedited and uncensored. We just have some talking points, subjects, questions sent in by people who watch, listen, fans of the guest, Twitter, Facebook pages. They just send them in, a few emails. It's going to be a lot of fun. They can go off the rails quite quick, but it's always a good time. So before I just introduce my guest, I'm just going to do a quick plug for the sponsors of today's show. Today's show is brought to you by Away Day Apparel. Away Day Apparel is a group of casually obsessed football fans looking to bring something different to the wardrobes of like-minded people. With football, music, and weekend carnage high on the agenda, they aim to bring you some exclusive products. They are edgy, controversial, but most importantly, current. From t-shirts, polos, shorts to hoodies, jackets and accessories, stick with them, and they aim to bring you terrace wear that will turn heads and provide the cutting-edge look that we all crave. So, joining me today is none other than UFC bantamweight, Mr. Brett the Pikey Johns. Welcome, my friend. How are you going?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you, Si?
I'm all right, mate. I'm just still getting warming up after watching my boy play football earlier, Bridgend. It was cold, real cold.
Was he playing tonight?
Yeah, he played early on, so he plays for like academy type thing. So he plays like Friday, Saturday. Between my younger and my older one, they train and play nearly every day. Like, so don't have time to do anything else except watch kids football.
I was gonna say, it was cold tonight.
Oh, it's freezing, and I couldn't believe it. Like this week, it hasn't been too bad. Like, just been chilly. Like, but today was. Whew.
I took a private session earlier with a couple of guys. I teach 3:30. I started teaching them, and then I went outside at 5:30, and it was brighter than ever. 3:30 and 5:30, bang, pitch black. You know.
That's it, mate. It's just dark, isn't it?
Yeah.
Pick a kids up from school, like, and it's by the time I get home, it's bloody getting dark.
Yeah, I know, man. I know.
Just right. So with these unscripted and uncensored shows, format's pretty simple. Instead of me planning out the show and asking the questions, the questions and the talking points are given by the people. So they can be on anything and everything. We've had previous guests and conversations. We've had Welsh boxer Gavin Gwynn, former British MMA fighters Lee Remedios and Danny Batten, Rodri Giggs, and the owner of Away Day Apparel himself, Alan Jones. And so today's Friday the 29th of November. I dropped my my interview with Shed 7's lead singer, Rit Witter, as well today. So check that out. So no script, no censors, no edits. That's the format. We've got lots to discuss.
This is the bit where I'm a bit like, okay, because I'm quite like a reserved person anyway. So I don't really. There's stuff that's happened in the past, but at the end of the day, if the question comes up, I'm going to answer it clear as day.
Yeah, that's it. No, it's that's the one thing as well. Is for me is like when I have people doing these shows, is I can't get blamed for the questions. So we'll see now. Anyway. Well, we'll see. I see how it goes. I think they've been relatively kind to you. I had a quick flick through when I was pasting them all in to the one document, and they're not too bad. Not too bad.
You said relatively.
Yeah. I wouldn't say they're not all good, but they're not all bad. I think that's about the gist of it. But so before we get into the people's questions, I like to get my guests just to tell us a little bit about themselves. Well, where they grew up, how they got to where they are today. So tell us a bit about you, Brett.
Basically, I was brought up in a small council estate in Swansea, the outskirts of Swansea towards the Nethy area, and we're still part of SA4, still part of Swansea, because everybody sometimes will say, like, are you a Turk then? And I go, no, I'm not, I'm Swansea. So You know, when you first turned the camera on, I saw that. I don't know what it is. It's not one of my favorite flags for a vet. No, but yeah, I grew up in a council estate in Pond Lice. My mother was a single parent, and when we were like 3 or 4, my older sister was doing judo, and me and my younger brother were causing riots in the house. So my mother thought she'd take us to judo as well. And ever since then, that was like the start of my martial arts career. You know, 4 years old in the judo club with my stepfather eventually. In all fairness, he's still a part of my training today. And even tomorrow, I've got a little grappling fight on tomorrow night in Pondower Leisure Centre, and I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a hell of a show. And my dad, all fairness, my main coach is away with one of his other students, so I asked my dad to be in the corner. It's been a long time since he's been in the corner, and I'm really looking forward to it. It's only a little grappling fight, but to him it's a big deal, and to me it's a big deal to have him there. So I'm looking forward to that. But yeah, I started judo all the way from 4 years old to 16. Then had a taste of MMA, and I guess the rest was history. You know, I've been doing this sport for 11 years now, and still I feel like I'm nowhere near where I want to be. And we've been very lucky. We've had some good fights in the past, and it's catapulted us to the UFC. Being the first Welsh guy to fight in the UFC was a massive feather in my cap. What I wanted really was to be the first Welsh guy to fight there. You know, and yeah, I'm absolutely buzzing, and everything's going great. You know, the whole thing is going really well, and although 2018 was my best year, coming off 2 losses, but like I said earlier, you know, then 2 losses are coming by guys who are ranked at the minute 2nd and 5th in the world. So, you know, I'm you know, obviously I'd love to have them rematches with them guys, but for the minute I'll just bite my tongue and get on with it.
Yeah, I think so. How many siblings you got?
I got 2 brothers and 1 sister. So I got an older sister and then 2 younger brothers. My younger brother, the one underneath me is a year and a half younger than me, and then I got a younger brother again who's about 5-6 years younger than me. He's one of the funniest people you can ever meet. Like he's hysterical, man.
So they all do like judo and like martial arts of some sort as well.
Yeah, so like not my brother started doing a bit of jiu-jitsu, but we all did judo as kids. My sister, I think she got like she was like a British bronze medalist at a junior level. The thing was with me in judo is I wasn't a top judo player. You know, I wasn't like the best of the best. You know, I never actually won a Welsh championship. Best result I had, in my opinion, was having 5th in the UK for under 20s, and that was hell of a, you know, for me at the time. I thought that's hell of a result for me. But that's why I wanted to cross over to MMA. I felt like my career was in judo was kind of plateauing. It wasn't like I was improving, I was getting better, and wanted to try something different out. And that's when I started watching MMA. And you know, when I was watching MMA, there was no Welsh guys to look up to. It was just me in the library of my school, and that was it. Like,
Yeah, I mean, like now there's a few Welsh guys in there coming through, whether it's in the UFC or Cage Warriors or whatnot. But obviously, before you, there wasn't. There was no Welsh guys like you mentioned in the UFC, and there wasn't a great deal. I don't think elsewhere either, really.
There was guys like like you said, that Cage Warriors level, but there was none really above that. Then at the end of the day, I was the first Welsh fighter to even win a world title. To win a world title in our game, not many Welsh people have done that. At the top of my head, I can think of 4, maybe 5 of us have ever won a Welsh title in mixed martial arts in Wales. That would be Jack Shaw, John Phillips, Jack Marshman, and me. And I won 2 belts for 1 or 2 different promotions. And to be honest, that's one of my things that I kept to this day, was being a 2-time world champion. Was if my career finished right now, I would genuinely be so happy. I would be happy with everything I've done. So everything else from now on is really a bonus,
Yeah, absolutely. So, your nicknames, the Pikey, where's that come from? And have you had any other like nicknames in your fighting career?
To be honest, in mixed martial arts, you don't give yourself your own nickname.
Yeah.
a motto that everybody has. So like, I call my cousin Dangerous Brian Evans, who's like a fighter with me, and he absolutely hates the nickname. The pikey is something I'm actually going through a bit of trouble with at the minute, to be honest, with Welsh FA. But besides that, it's a nickname I had from like when I was younger, 18 years old, going to town. I used to wear gypsy boots. Like, going back a few years ago, I was nowhere near as fashionable as I am now.
Mhm.
And I used to wear these gypsy boots all the time, and people would spot me and say, "Oh, he looks like a traveller, he looks like a pikey." And I think ever since then, people started noticing it and started calling me the pikey. So it wasn't a nickname I'd given myself. It was more my mates going on. That's what they started calling me, and even to the point where like people would scream out, "Oh, hey, pikey!" in the middle of the street, and then there's police around. They look in as if to say, "Can't say that, so you're in public."
Yeah.
The Americans love it though. Daniel Cormier thinks it's a brilliant nickname. But
Mhm.
yeah, like I said, I'm on a bit of trouble with the Welsh FA, all of that. But other than that, yeah, it's going great.
So, how old were you when you turned pro then?
Let me think about this now. Right, I had my first fight. Yeah, I was 17 when I had my first fight, and like nowadays, you get amateurs who've got 30 fights on their record, which is where it should be. When I was doing it, it wasn't so much amateur; it was known as semi-pro. Those were kind of all mixed up when I was doing MMA originally, and thinking about it, I was 18, but I was eight. I got through my first 5 amateur fights from November 2011 to April 2012. That was my amateur career. Amateur career should be years long, and I did mine in 6 months, and then I went professional. And by bearing in mind, I started MMA November 2011. That was just amateur. By September 2013, I'd won my first world title.
That's no hanging about, is it? That's like
Oh,
straight in.
not that we had that plan, to be honest. My only goal when I was doing MMA was to win a belt, and I won a belt within 6 months of doing the sport. So I was like, right, what's next? And we go pro, and then won a few fights at pro, and I went, what's next? I was like, well, win the British title. I won that, and then what's next? Sign with a big promotion. Right, done that. What's next? And it's kind of been step by step. At the minute, obviously the UFC belt would be the main goal, but having said that, on the other page, my next goal would technically be getting to the top 10 in the world. I went up to 13th, but the top 10 might be on the planet, being the top 10 best fighters is an achievement in itself, and that's what I'm trying to aim at.
Yeah, yeah. I suppose you've got to, you know, people. I think sometimes people looking from the outside, they think it's a bit easier than what it is to break into that top 10 and to challenge for titles. It takes a lot of time and work and effort for fighters like yourself just to break into that top 10, let alone get up into the top 5, top 3, and start challenging for titles. And the thing is, the standard generally of MMA now from like 10 years ago
Oh,
is unbelievably different, isn't it? Because
yeah.
like even you could have people who could be ranked 20, 25th or whatever, and they could be really, really strong fighters. And people just look at the rankings sometimes, I think, particularly people who are kind of casual fans who maybe just tune in for like the big cards or whatever. They assume because someone's ranked like 20 or 25th that it's just an easy fight or whatever. And
Yeah.
it's just not, is it? It's just not the case. Like the standard is so high.
Modern day MMA fight at the minute, and everybody just seems to be getting better and better. Like I got youngsters in the gym, and they scare the shit out of me because they're getting just better and better. I got a kid in my gym called in Chris's gym called Corey Lewis, and he's fantastic, man. Like I look at someone like that and I think when he hits his early 20s, he's going to be a nightmare for anybody. And already, in my opinion, he's best in the UK his size and weight. Like
Smart.
yeah, I always said to him, I said, look, I'm one of the bookies in the next few months, and I'm going to put your name down for reaching UFC because I genuinely believe you will. But this is the youngsters coming through the game and coming through the ranks, and honestly, they give me some cracking spars in the gym. You know, it's good being that UFC fighter because people go, oh, look, he's in the UFC. I'm going to try and beat him so I know where I'm at. And I love that, though. I love being pushed to get in the gym, and especially from the youngsters who are hungry and who want to get there. So it's put it this way, it's like a shark pit in there. You know, I'm a little goldfish, and everybody else is the shark. So I take me out.
Yeah, well, that's it, mate. And the thing is, as well, the other side of that is like they see you in the in the biggest MMA promotion in the world, and they think, well, if he can do it, maybe I can do it, and it gives them something to kind of aim for, and to because obviously Wales is a small country, isn't it? At the end of the day, like I think people sometimes forget that, particularly football fans, they forget how small Wales is, and it's not a big it's not a big country, which means that I think sometimes it's yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely, it's harder for I think I've always thought this, but not just like with MMA, with all sports. I think it's harder for like young kids to get spotted and go to the very top of like a sport than it is if they lived in London or if they lived in Manchester. It's nothing against those places. I just think that it's harder just because of the sheer size of the country, and also if you go to London. I'm sure there's MMA gyms everywhere, same as in Manchester and all over England. Whereas they are popping up in Wales more and more, but compared, there's you're fairly limited.
Yeah, 100%. Like I said, in Wales is a very, on the grand scheme of things, it's a very quiet country. Like even when it comes to like sport funding for different things, I know
Oh yeah,
good high level guys in British teams. Like we got good Welsh competitors in British funding. It just isn't there. And obviously, I understand there's reasonings behind it, but I do feel like as a nation we're not looked at as a top thing in any sport, top in any sport. But that's why I'm trying to keep myself to myself. I haven't needed any funding so far. I just kind of got on with it and found my own path. I've taken my own fights, and some fights I regret, even the ones I won, I regret some of them, and then some of the fights that I don't regret and I've lost. It is what it is. But I'm happy that I've kind of chose my own path, not let someone else choose it. Things like funding or I got a good manager behind me who tells me what he thinks of certain fights, and this January 25th fight is a big deal, and I think it's a good fight. So
it's going to be a good one. This guy can't wait for it. I was saying to you earlier, and I suppose if you've got someone funding you as well, is they've got like a say in what you do, haven't they? Whereas if you've got your own, you've got your team around you, you've got people you trust, and no one's funding you, you can, you're in control of your own career then, and you, and
at the end of the day, I want to look back in years to come. I want to be that drunk 50-year-old guy in the pub and be happy with what I've done, and not saying, oh, what if I did this, what if I did that. But at least now kind of made my own choices, and every fight that I've had, I've kind of I've agreed to, I've done it. Like I remember the Pedro Munoz fight, which was back in August 2018. Believe it or not, Pedro Munoz was the only guy I said no to, but not because of an opponent date. It was straight after Christmas. I was super heavy, and I said, look, I'm not going to fight him in February, but I'll happily fight him. Give me enough date, and then
yeah,
then it changed over. That I fought Artem and Sterling first, and lost against Artem, and then they offered me Pedro for the second time. And I bit their end off the second time because it was a fight that I wanted. Like Pedro was a weird fighter in that division. And I just put my balls on the table and said, you know what? Yeah, I'll go for this. I'll fight him. I'm not fit by any man. I think when fear gets involved, that's when you kind of already lost. Like there's no man in that division that scares me. There really isn't. I'm not saying I'll beat everyone, but I'll fight everyone.
yeah, and I think like at the end of the day, like with any fighting, MMA, boxing, and wherever it is, like you're gonna get hit, and you get hit every day when you're training, and you're gonna get smashed in the mouth, and you're gonna get tapped out, and whatever is part and parcel of like the fighting and that. But I think you can often see when like boxers, especially ones who are like unbeaten. So like for instance, you've got Anthony Joshua's obviously going to fight Ruiz again now coming up after dominating everyone for so long. it'll be really interesting to see how he responds to it, because like the fighting game is about, it's like it's mental as much as it is physical, because you've got to be able to control, your nerves and your fear, and you've got to be able to come back from losses. So
Oh,
obviously, like you mentioned, you had 2018 was a really difficult year for you, and you got to, you're looking to push on now and put that behind you. And are you, so, like, what would you say at the moment, like, your main thoughts are about that fight coming up now? Is it like eager to get into it? Is it nerves? Is it just can't wait for it to come around?
I think it's a bit of all of that you just said really mixed into one. I'm apprehensive because I feel like that, I'll fuck this up, I'm out the door really,
Mm.
I'm not stupid, I'm not naive, I understand that this is I'm on the chopping block, yes, okay, granted, I've lost to the best guys in the division, and it'd be quite harsh to cut me after this. But I'm realistic, I've got plan A, I've got plan B, I've got plan C in my head, what I'll do in situations. But I'm excited though. Yeah, I'd say I'm very excited. This was the difference compared to other fights. When I get given a name, my instant thought is, oh shit. Oh, that's the first instant thought I get, and I go, think about it, and I look at different people, and I watch them and study them, and then I tend to feel better. With Tony Gravelli, it was a bit more difficult because when they offered Tony Gravelli, instead of I did the amateur mistake of looking at his record first, then watching him, and then watching him fight. So I looked at his record and I saw 19-5, which is a good MMA record. And I looked at his last 7 fights. He's won his last 7 fights, 6 of them by knockout and 1 sub. So instantly it's like, oh shit, this is going to be a tough shift. And then I watched Tony fight, and as a stylistic matchup, it kind of suits me. I'm not saying that not a good fighter. He's a phenomenal fighter. He really is. I look at him as a stylistic matchup with me, and I think it's good, really good. And I think that's why that bit of it excites me more than anything. And I'm just absolutely buzzing to go.
Yeah, I think particularly when you've had a break, it must be you must be like really eager just to get back in that cage and get back to business. Was it difficult to like get your head around the 2 losses? Like, after that second one, what was your mindset like after that?
I love talking about this because a lot of people get a bit confused about the way I think and stuff, but I like talking about it. So the second loss didn't bother me whatsoever. First one, oh my god, that affected me horrendously. So the reason why, in my head, I felt like in the Aljamain fight, this is a guy who's second in the world. He beat me fair and square, all 3 rounds to nil. I didn't win any round. There was good things in the fight, but there was a lot more bad things in the fight. But the biggest thing I took away from it was that I didn't turn up that night mentally. Now, physically, I was in good shape. I had a good weight cut. Everything went really well. But mentally, I felt like I was knowing that I wanted to all that fight. There's reasons behind it. I'm not gonna get into it. There's reasons behind it, and I felt like that was my worst fight ever. And what kills me is I would have loved to have fought someone else and had that day with someone else rather than fight Aljamain Sterling and have it with him. But like I said, after the fight, wasn't really much of a mark on there, a bit of a bruise in my nose, and I was kind of just itching my head. I didn't know what the last 15 minutes was really. And then I went for the next 3 months in camp of just absolutely just pulling my hair out. I didn't know what I was doing. It had nothing to do with the fact that I've lost. I was kind of prepared I was going to lose, but it was more with not performing. Like,
Yeah.
look, I can get my ass handed to me. I'm okay with that. I'm okay that if I go into a fight and I'm doing really well and I get knocked clean and conscious, look, I can live with that. I really can. I'm not scared of them days. People like fighters are petrified of getting knocked out. Like, the chances are for me, it's around the corner, and I just got to kind of deal with it, or even getting choked out. It doesn't matter. But when I signed to fight Pedro, then the Pedro fight wasn't just to get back in the ring, Colin, but for me, more importantly, it was to get over the Artem Sterling fight, which was a few months earlier. And obviously, when I went in there, they said that round 2 was round of the year.
Was good.
First round. I thought I'd lost the first round, but turns out I'd won the first round. That's against a guy who's ranked 5th in the world. Do I feel like I was 100% mentally there? Not really, but I felt like I performed. There was bits I was unhappy with the fight. I got caught with the leg kicks to a point where I had to change stance, and then I got caught with a body kick. But people know me, man. I won't quit in them situations. You're gonna have to put me asleep. I'm not quitting. I'll go through 15 minutes of hell. I'm okay with that. I'm prepared for that. But the Pedro fight was just, my opinion, was done over. It was beautiful. It was the way I wanted it. I didn't want to lose, but if I was going to lose, it was going to be that way, and it went the way I wanted it to go. I was going to lose, and I got a friend for life with him. Now I message Pedro all the time, and we chat a lot, and it's quite cool. But the biggest thing I took away from that fight was, I think I got over the Aljamain fight, and that was the biggest thing for me. And like I said, getting over that was brilliant. And then I was hoping to get straight back in there after Pedro. But realistically, subconsciously, I didn't mean to do this, but I took time off. I wanted to get back in November. Then they said, "Oh, look, you won't be fighting until like March time." I said, "Right." Then I did Polaris, which is like a grappling tournament, bust my right knee. I ended up like tearing my MCL. So I was out for a few weeks. Christmas getting fat. And then I started training in January, and I started getting my weight down quickly. I was looking really good. And at the end of January, I was with my cousin, and we were just doing a bit of jiu-jitsu, and my left knee went bang. So my right one was done, and then 2 months later, my left one went bang, and that was an even worse tear in the LCL. Then, obviously, taking a few months off, then I was meant to fight in March last year against Eddie Wineland, but that fell through. And then I ended up going to Vegas for 3 weeks to kind of rehab my knees, like do a rehab sort of trip. and it was the best 3 weeks of my life. I didn't realize though how mentally bad I was until I went out there. My brother said to me, he said, "Look, bro, you need to go to Vegas. He said you need to get fixed. You need to do something because your career's spiraling out of control." And I didn't feel like it was. But then when I went out there, I realized, yeah, it was like that bad.
Yeah.
It was,
Just needed like a break just to get yourself together and.
Yeah, like the last 20 weeks of my life has been brilliant. I haven't really missed out on anything big. If I wanted to go out with my friends on the weekend, I can. I did. I went out and I'll have a few drinks to them. But my last drink was at the Jerry Cinnamon gig on the 9th of November. And now I won't touch a drop over Christmas until the fight's done. I just think about my plan of attack. People don't know what I'm going to be doing this fight, but that's actually one of the things I wanted to say. Obviously on the show was we're going to Miami, Florida on the 15th of November. Should be meeting up with a Welsh legend, Flex Lewis, out there. I'm quite friendly with Flex. I'm going to meet now with him. We'll spend a week in Miami, Florida. Then we're going to fly them from there to North Carolina for their fight week. Fingers crossed, we win. The next day we fly back to Miami and we have a few drinks on the beachfront in Miami, Florida. But I'm hoping it's going to be like a scene from GTA Vice City. I'm going to talk to Setti with a pina colada.
Yeah, celebrating. That's it, isn't it? So something I picked up on what you said about your knee, about you did one and then the other one went, and it's surprising how common that is. That when someone does like their ACL or similar in one knee, the other knee goes like quite soon afterwards or in the recovery.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that must be because of like the extra kind of weight bearing and the extra pressure you put through the other leg in the recovery. I assume but it's really common because like I've spoken to a couple of people who've said the same thing.
Yeah,
it's weird,
like even like I'm not saying that they're 100%. They're not 100%. Like I don't think they'll ever be 100%. I got a jacked right shoulder here, both my like had like a ligament damage in both. I've known me, but I never was the injury type of person. Mixed martial arts, I wasn't. Only since I started like MMA and I went professional, that's when I started realizing injuries. And it's simply because I train like an absolute muppet. You know, I go into the gym and my coach will say, right, take it lightly today, and then look over his shoulder and I'm doing 5-5s wall wrestling with them gloves on, and he's like, yeah, I told you to take it easy, but I've always trained like that. You know, I'm the guy that you gotta literally drag out of the gym. You know, I take my job very serious. You see a lot of fighters who fight and then they take 6 weeks off and then they sign another fight, they go back in the gym. Like, for me, it's my full-time job, so I'm full-time. So
Yeah.
I quit work back in March 2013 to become a full-time fighter. Then I'm not going to be taking it easy and taking days off, staying in the house when I could be in and training, you know?
Yeah, the thing is, it's going to take its toll on your body, innit? Particularly as you get like a bit older now as well. Like, I guess, like as fighters get older and you know into their mid-30s or whatever, they've got to kind of take it a bit easier, you know, on a daily basis, just to let their body recover and that. But obviously, you know, you're not there yet. You're still a young whippersnapper.
Yeah, don't feel
Still,
it though.
yeah. I bet. Well, mate, I've not been funny. You get punched in the face for a living, so.
I was gonna say, see, because like this is the thing. A lot of guys in the top 10 UFC in my weight, they're all like 30 plus. Like, you know, I'm so you know, if you look at the grand scheme of things, I'm 27, so 28 in February, looking kind of like younger in that weight division. And trust me, the camps are hard now. Like, this is the thing that wound me up with TJ Dillashaw. Like, he was the former UFC bantamweight champion, got busted for EPO, then started complaining how hard his camps were, and now he's getting injured. And man, that's a fucking fight camp, man. Just get on with it, like, you know.
Yeah.
There's no excuse to go and take supplements you're not supposed to take. You know, I'm a Welsh boy. We don't have science labs here where we can test them and put all the stupid toxins in you to make you a better fighter. You know, I've done this naturally. I've never ever done anything like that for my whole entire life. You know, only recently I've started taking protein powders because I needed to trust them first. There's a lot of there's a lot of issues with that certain fighters in my opinion. But you know, to me, like, why they let everybody do it or if you're gonna be them guys who are gonna be system, then what's you it, man? You shoot yourself with it, eh?
Yeah, it's so all right. Let's skip forward a bit to because one of the questions which someone asked is as a fighter, how frustrating is it when you see fighters in your even if they're not in your weight class, but like you see them getting popped for banned substances, whether it's you know intentional or it's just like something to do with a supplement. Like, how frustrating is that for someone who's never had any issues like that?
For me, I'll vouch for the defendants, as I say, the people who get busted and stuff, right? So we work for a company, we are tested by a company called USADA, you know,
Mm-hmm.
to the US anti-doping, right? And back in the UK, we got like UK something, they drug test you, and it's very frustrating when it comes to testers your house every morning. Like, I've had, like, basically if you're not where you say you're gonna be, like for example, 2 weeks ago I said that I was promoting a fight in my school, so they asked me to come back to my secondary school fight, which is the up and coming fight. So I'm at my school doing the promotion stuff, and then I got 2 voicemails on my phone. They're going, "Now we're at your house, blah blah blah." But that'll go down now as a whereabouts failure. You know, trying to promote the fight. And like,
All right.
so there's bits like that, which is like you have got USADA knocking on your door at 6 a.m. in the morning, but where are you? You know, it can get frustrating. Having said that, though, they're doing a fantastic job of trying to find these people. Do I think some of them are cheating the system? Yeah, I really do. I still think it goes on. For example, if the champion at our weight was doing it, then I think a lot of guys underneath him will be doing it well. You know, what hope have we got for the champions to be them sort of stuff, that sort of stuff, you know? At the end of the day, times get tough. You got to get on with it, man. It's not one of them easy fights you're going to be having, you know. And it does frustrate me. There's a couple of guys in that bantamweight division tested and done for something in the past. TJ Dillashaw's a recent one. Sean O'Malley's a one. I don't understand what Sean O'Malley's taken, to be honest. Sean O'Malley's one. Even Pedro Munoz, a guy that I thought has been thing in the past, and I feel sorry for people like Garbrandt, really, who have only lost 3 times in his career, and he's lost to guys who have previously been stung a pop for heads, and I bet you that's really difficult. With me, I didn't really care. Pedro pissed clear for me, so I don't give. He was the best guy, and even if he wasn't, I would still fight him anyway. It's not that thing where I think this. I don't think it's an advantage. I really don't. They can say whatever they want to say, but mentally, this is where it all matters. When you get to that top level and get into the top 5, top 10, this is what matters. Not body,
That's interesting. Like, because obviously, it's like a big topic around the world in all sports is like PEDs and people. There's always someone in some sport who thinks they can get around it with science labs or their teams or whatever. Not just MMA, all sports, athletics and boxing. There's always someone who thinks they can cheat the system, but you don't think that it makes that much difference when it comes to the highest level, like in fighting.
Yeah, I understand the thing about taking PEDs. I understand that it'll help you recover, make you training harder. But man, I fought some good guys in the past who I think were on it. But I think if you look too much into it, it becomes a factor. Like if I'm telling myself all the time, well, if this guy's been done for steroids, it means he's been training harder and all that. I train as hard as I can. I push my body to the brink. So I think even if I was on PEDs, I couldn't even be harder than what I am now. But let the cheats be the cheats, because what I love, and this is honestly, and like a lot of people think I'm being harsh saying this, what I love though is when people who take PEDs get caught and it ruins their careers. So I love that bit. Now people will be bitter about that. I don't care. At the end of the day, take the risk if you want to. Get away with it. Brilliant. Thumbs up. You crack on. But if you don't, that's the consequence. It's the same as being a drug dealer in normal life.
Absolutely.
You want to risk it. But if you get caught, then it's your problem.
Yeah. You're screwed, isn't you?
That's my thought on it anyway.
Yeah, I like that. So, all right, let's get into some of these questions then.
Yeah.
So, Gaz Khabibs he sent in a couple of questions. He says, how can we make weight cutting safer, as it does feel like we're waiting for something tragic to happen? And obviously in other sports, there has been some tragedies around the world, I think, in the last 12 months.
Yeah, it's to be honest, I've thought about this a lot. Like I'm previously a fighter that's failed weight twice. I know what it's like to fail weight. And especially the second time when I had to go to hospital, I literally, not to sound overdramatic, I literally thought I was going to die, and it was that scary. There's certain ways, there's certain promotions to get around it now, but man, I've been in every single time I cut the 61 kilos, it's horrific. There's no way for it, and it's not as easy as that thing. I think they're right. The people have to. There's going to have to be a big, people have died in the past of doing it. And it's not even died on the weight cut. It's done the weight cut, might have made weight, might not have fought, then punched in the head and then died.
Yeah.
Those different factors of it. But it's all about the rehydration levels. It's all about being hydrated. Your brain's hydrated, everything's hydrated. But at the point of when I make weight, I can completely tell you now that I am completely hydrated. One knock on my head that would cause me trouble. Some people put the absolute brink, and they do, and it's very scary. But that day is going to come. It's inevitable for anyone. It is, and it's hard to sit here watch. I've complained about weight cutting my whole life. I think people are so quick to judge when someone misses weight, but they don't look at the bigger picture. Like guys I look at, and especially if they complain about missing weight, usually guys who have never cut weight before in life. And it's tough, man. Every fighter will say, "Yeah, look, I've always been impressed. I've always made weight." Granted, well done, amazing, but there's circumstances like people like Dan Till have missed weight, and I guarantee you, when you watch that weight cut back, you're telling me he could have done more. That was it. That was all he was gonna do. And I'm not bitter towards anybody. People miss weight, and you can say it's unprofessionalism or whatever you want to say, but weight cutting. I've never had a fight but it's been hard than a week.
Yeah, I mean, like we spoke just briefly off air, like before we started about you obviously had British fighter Paddy Pimblett was gonna do, he was gonna fight this past weekend, just gone, and his opponent took the fight on short notice, but then he was, I think, I can't remember the exact numbers, but when he took the fight and signed the contract, he was quite a way over the weight, but he signed the contract and he said, I'll make the weight, and then he came in and they did the weigh-ins and he was miles overweight, and I think like Paddy had a problem with it, not because he missed weight, but because he weighed in and then sat down and was like eating and drinking rather than perhaps trying to lose a bit more, and then maybe they could have sorted something out to meet. But like people were saying, I saw a lot of people from within the MMA world as well saying to Paddy, like, oh, if you want to fight him that much, like just fight him at the weight he's at. And it's like, well, by the time he had rehydrated and gone into the fight the next day, he'd have had like over a stone on him, and like that's a massive advantage in in weight and strength. Like,
My point of view on the Paddy Pimblett fight, okay. Number one is I will not take a short notice fight if I am over a certain weight. Now, I think what's his name, Janetti or something.
Yeah, I think it was
I
Janetti.
think he was like, I heard he was something like 30 pounds over when he was
Yeah.
just trying to fight. Like that's a no. I got to be 20 pounds or under. If it's over that, because I know from 20 pounds I can cut that quite quickly. 30 pounds, you're taking a Mickey there. You're taking a That's the first thing. The second thing, we're on about horrendous weight cuts. Like, there's nobody that has gone through more horrendous weight cuts than Paddy Pimblett.
Yeah.
Like a guy who has pushed his body to the brink. And I've seen photos of Paddy, and I've seen Paddy make weight, and he looks awful sometimes, Like, I've seen fights when he was making featherweight, and I thought he was going net, That probably frustrates Paddy because he does push it until he can't do no more.
Yeah.
I bet it's very hard to see someone make weight and sit down and start scoffing food and drink.
Yeah.
When he's been in that same situation and he put his balls on the table and said, what, I'm just gonna cut the last 2 pounds if I'm over, and I feel sorry for Paddy. And like, not only that, and on top of that, coming back from a bit of a layoff, he's had a load of injuries. That's realistically the last thing he wants. And I felt sorry for Paddy. He did a pop on there. So a lot of people hurling the boost at him. And it's up to them what they want to say. But I'm a big Paddy Pimblett fan, and if I lose a few fans to saying it, then so be it.
Yeah, me too, mate. And I'll just have a little plug. You guys can check out the show I did with Paddy a few episodes back, which was a good one because he had plenty to say. So what weight do you walk around at like day to day, mate, when you're not in camp?
So right, okay. So I fight at 135 pounds. Like when I went to Vegas in April, I was 170. So that's like, what's that? I think
170 pounds is
35 pounds.
yeah, 35. Well, it's 35, isn't it?
Yeah,
But like,
35 pounds. So I was like 35 pounds over when I was out in April time. That was the point in my career where I didn't think there was nothing wrong, but realistically there was. You can see by my weight there was. That was number one. Right now I'm probably walking on the road maybe just under 160. So that's still a 25-pound cut really. But like I've got 8 weeks this Saturday to kind of cut that out. I usually I go into fight week, mind the Tuesday before the weigh-in, so I weigh in on Friday morning. Tuesday afternoon, I'm 15 pounds over. I've been like that for the last 5 weight cuts, and I've smashed it. So I've got my own way of doing it. Realistically, I want to see that number drop to about. If I can get this number down to about 155, just under 155, like say, ideally like 151, 150. Like I'll be chuffed with that, So it's only like another 8 pounds away from what I am now, I got a grappling comp tomorrow. I got to be 72 kilos, and I've just had some food, just had some roast chicken breast before bed with a bit of salami, and that's it. That's all I've had now, and I wake up tomorrow. I'm on weight now, even after eating that. So 72 kilos at the minute, but we got to fight. We fight 61.8, so I'm about 10 kilos off right now.
So this might be a stupid question, but I'm going to ask it just because I'm interested. Really, is so say you were walking around 160, 170 pounds generally. Why do you cut to 135? Not just you. Why do other fighters like?
Yeah.
Why do you? Because like obviously 170 is welterweight, isn't it? And then you've got like I think there's 155 division as well in there.
Yeah.
So why do you choose the bantamweight over maybe something a bit bigger?
So when I went to Vegas, if they found out that I have 127 pounds of 128 pounds of muscle on me,
Yeah.
if I lost all the fat on my body, I could make 127, 128 pounds. So my frame is a 135-pound frame. Okay?
Yeah.
Having said that, that's not the reason why I do it. The reason why I do it is because, especially with my fighting style, the size advantage is a big thing. And I remember fighting Pedro Munoz and Artem Sterling, and people were like, man, that Artem Sterling looked big. And I'm like, hey, he looked way bigger than you. And I've gone, he wasn't. And they're like, no, he was. I was like, no, because I've walked at 158 and he's walked at 154, so he can't be.
Yeah.
I'm a very dense bantamweight. In fact, I'm to the point that my last fight, I had a letter from the California Athletic Commission saying you need to go up a weight and you're not allowed to fight a bantamweight in this state again. So
Yeah, right. So
I went from 135 to 158.
yeah,
that's
that's loads, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
So why it is just that it's like for for fighters generally they want that it's the size advantage.
Yeah, not that it matters, because it doesn't matter. For me personally, bantamweight is the weight where I could make featherweight really easy and be fresh and stuff. But I'd be lying if I said I think I'd have a career at that weight.
Yeah.
All my moves are done with sensible, correct sort of movements. And the right choices. And bantamweight will always be my category until I get to the end of my career and I want to start taking fights on money. Then that would be a featherweight fight. But bantamweight's fine for me. Obviously, anything can happen. This next camp, things can go wrong in the weight cut. But for the minute, I feel happy at bantamweight. And yes, it's a horrendous cut. It really is. I'm losing 12 pounds in 24 hours. It's a horrible cut, but I get it done.
Yeah, that's it. Get it done. So, Gaz also asked, who's the best British MMA fighter of all time in your opinion, and why?
Right. Okay. There's a list of names I can name here. Obviously going through just like accomplishments and being a champion and the career he's had. Michael Bisping. Michael Bisping, in my opinion, is one of the greatest. Comes across as a dick, but I think he's definitely the best British fighter we had. And this is the thing: a lot of people don't realize this. I got a best mate who I'm best man for his wedding, called Kyle Davis, right? And he's basically the older brother role. My dad was an instructor for years, and Kyle came to him because he was a naughty boy in Bont, and then my old man ended up teaching him loads of judo, and he did really well. But he ventured into a bit of MMA, and turns out he fought co-main event on a Cage Warriors card when Michael Bisping was main event, and it was crazy. And another little interesting story. Now, I've never actually spoken to Bisping about this. So this one time, I live in a place called Pontarddulais, right? Small little Welsh town in Swansea. And this was when I was going through I probably maybe just had an amateur fight, or I was just having my first amateur fight. And I used to collect a lot of like fighters only magazines. This one day I was with my friends and I was driving my little Peugeot 106. I was driving on the Bont and I said, oh look, we'll go and see the posh houses of the forest. So I drove up the forest, and as I drove around the corner, I've seen this white Mercedes come at me, and I thought, I'm sure that was Michael Bisping in Pontarddulais, right? It's just a mad coincidence, really. For years, I've always wondered if it really was him that was there.
Yeah.
And I remember it was mad because I had a Fighters Only magazine in the back of the car with Bisping on the front cover. I was like, that can't be him. And he's either training in America or he lives in Manchester. I don't have a clue. And turns out he's got a brother who apparently used to live in the Bont, and it was him. But I would love to have a chat with him about that.
That's mad, that, isn't it?
Yeah, crazy.
Just like Of all the places to see him.
Yeah, in the Bont.
Shit. So you said you had a Peugeot 106, was it?
I used to have,
Back in the day. So what are you driving now then?
my girlfriend's Audi A1. So
Nice.
at the minute, funds are a bit tight. I just bought my first house with my girlfriend, which I'm in right now. The thought of having a house was, I thought that was years in front of me, really, not right now. And we've got our first home, and I to be honest, I absolutely love the fact I've got my own house. I got like, everybody knows about me and my fashion. I love my clobber, I love all my football clothes, my Adidas trainers. A little setup in the bedroom. I don't have to worry about one of my brothers coming in and robbing my jacket for starters. They're all there. But yeah, I love having the house and stuff. But the car thing was like, I've crashed almost every car I've had. I'm a bit of I used to be a bit of a fanatic with cars. To
Yeah.
a point where I love rallying. One of my favourite motorsports is the WRC, the World Rally Championship. Uh, I've even raced before. So people not a lot of people know about this, but my last car I had before it got crashed, and that time it wasn't my fault. I crashed into a 17 plate Ford Ranger, and there was a little scuff in the Ranger, and it just ruined the front end of my 1996 Subaru Impreza.
Nice.
And I ended up doing 3 races, nothing major. It was just for me to fun. I did one with one of my ex training partners, Ben Miles, who was a co-driver. The second one was my missus, she was my co-driver, and the third one was my best mate Kyle, who was also a co-driver. And not that we won anything. I think I came fourth one time, which was a good result for me racing. But I ended up driving. It was like 3 weeks for the Pedro fight. And I went around a roundabout in Penn again. Some Ford Ranger T-boned me, literally just crashed in the side of me. And I thought, do I pull out now because I can get a good claim here? And I thought, no, I needed a ruck, to be honest.
Shit.
So I went out there. To be honest, I wasn't really injured. Like, bear in mind, the car had a roll cage, bucket seats, harnesses. It had everything in it. So I didn't really feel the bump, to be honest.
It's mad, isn't it? You were rallying like a few weeks before your fight. Like,
I know.
this is
So,
crazy.
I don't think Dana White would be happy if I told the last story.
Yeah. So JD asks, is there someone from a different weight that you would like to fight?
Oh, a different weight. I haven't really thought about that one. I'm trying to think. Who would I like to fight?
Conor McGregor, the Battle of the Celts.
Yeah, I'd like to fight him only because of the paycheck as well. So
Yeah.
if I beat him up for 5-5s, or if he pans me out in 30 seconds, at least I get a good paycheck.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know, someone I would actually like to fight, like to have fought if it was like weight category as a side, is I'm a big fan of Forrest Griffin, a guy
Yeah.
a guy who literally I'm a massive fan of him. I'd have like to have fought Forrest. Like me and him would have had hell of a dust up.
Yeah, that would have been good shit.
Yeah.
So he also asks, have you ever fought anyone that you genuinely like hate or dislike? And he also says, is there anyone in the UFC who you genuinely don't like as well?
I'm quite laid back, you know. I'm not as strict when it comes to like disliking fighters or whatever. Like, to be honest, I'm trying to think. No, you know, fight wise, I remember fighting this guy called James Brum. That I felt like there was a bit of bad blood there, and like the lead up to the fight, it was a bit awkward, and even after the fight, it was a little bit awkward. But then I saw James back in July, and it was nice to have a chat with him. So I feel like that we buried the hatchet there. I'm trying to think of fighters I dislike. There's nobody really that I've fought, you know. Like for example, like I'm close with Pedro. Algernon I'm not so close with. It doesn't mean I dislike him. It just means he's just beat me and we just not talking, I guess, you know. I'm trying to think. A guy I dislike. I've had like back and forth with Marlon Vera on the internet, but like all fairness to Marlon Vera, I met him in August after the Pedro fight, and he watched me get my ass handed to me, and then he'd won his fight, but I think he kind of realized, oh, this guy can scrap. And all fairness to him, yeah, it was one of the things. Like, back in like 2017, I was having back and forth with him, but like Yeah, I think it's all done now. There's nobody that I stand out and dislike, really. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think some fighters might dislike me, but yeah, I don't dislike anybody really.
Yeah, that's fair enough, isn't it? So on that note, I suppose in a way, what did you think of what like the whole Conor and Khabib thing, specifically what Khabib did to Lobov when they surrounded him in the hotel? Do you think that was bang out of order, or do you
Um,
think they kind of brought it on themselves because they were, they were mouthing off and they were, they gave as good as they were giving?
to be honest, like I know Artem, I speak to Artem a lot, and I really get on with Artem. He's a good guy.
Legend.
I do, yeah, he's a legend, man. I do think, though, honestly, that it was, yeah, I don't think Habib should have gone up to. I think he slapped him as well. I don't think
Yeah,
that shouldn't have happened. Like, at the end of the day, Habib should know better. As unless it was like a little ploy to try and wind corner up. I don't know, but
I
it
think so.
it definitely worked though. So put it that
Jesus
way.
Christ, that he
Yeah,
was on he was on a plane, wasn't he, the next day?
yeah, but like, yeah, he shouldn't have really done that. Because the thing is, I think Habib kicked off because of Artem said that McGregor would beat him in a fight.
Yeah,
But that's his training partner, like, you know what I mean? He's meant to say that, isn't he? You know?
yeah, and plus, like, MMA fighters, with all due respect to you, it's like your job is to try and promote fights, and
Promote
like
fights, exactly.
you gotta promote yourself, but also you want to get the biggest fight possible for you, don't you? At the end
Yeah,
of the day, like you just
yeah,
said, if you could fight Conor McGregor, you would, because that's the biggest payday
yeah,
of
I would,
anyone, isn't it?
yeah. I would definitely do it.
But yeah, I didn't like that they kind of surrounded him and they like Khabib slapped him and that. But I
Yeah.
mean, it is
Like
what it is.
if that was me and I was with like, my brother or a few of the boys, like a few of the footy boys, like that would not happen.
No,
I don't care if he's 24 and old, like I don't give a shit. That wouldn't happen. And if my brother was in the same situation, that wouldn't happen. Like for example, you don't see the Diaz, you don't see him doing that with Diaz is there.
no,
Then Diaz
no, because
boys,
they wouldn't stand by and
yeah, they get their own
have it.
boys there.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So Peaches wants to know, or she says, I wanted to ask Brett to tell the story of how he kind of ended up in the UFC, how they contacted him, what it was like when they first told him, that he was signed, and how he broke the news to his family and stuff. Like, what was the experience like with that?
Yeah, actually, that's something I can talk about all night really, but I'll kind of break it down a bit. My UFC debut, I was going to fight Ross Pearson on 3 weeks' notice. That was what I was gonna do. So like, my manager contacted my coach and said, "Look, there's an opportunity here. Does Brett want to fight a lightweight against Ross Pearson?" And I looked at Chris and said, "Yeah, whatever. If it means being in the UFC, I'll basically accept this human sacrifice and fight Ross Pearson on 3 weeks' notice." And then I said yes. I lied to the UFC. I said, they were like, "How much you weigh?" And I'm like, "I'm probably about 160, 165. And in fact, I was 10 pounds lighter. I was 150. I lied so I can just get on the show and fight that guy.
Yeah.
And it turned out then that Stevie Ray, a Scottish fighter, took my place. And I was like heartbroken because I thought that was my opportunity to get there. And it was a race. It was a little bit subconscious, a bit of a race, but Jack Marshman was already signed to the UFC and he was fighting on that show. And then they ended up saying to me, they said, like, "You really want to fight?" And we're like, "Yeah, we want to fight." And then the next minute, then it was like my brother's birthday, right? And my brother just turned 18 at the time, and he was going to his first night out in Swansea. It was a Wednesday night, and I was a bit concerned. My youngest brother, he's really funny, but he can be a bit stupid. I know he can get hurt if he says something wrong to the wrong person. So I had my phone on me all night, and then like 2 a.m. a call comes, and it's an American number. And first thing I thought my brother had been arrested or something. I don't know. My manager goes, "Hey Brett, right, we got a fight." And I'm like, "What do you mean?" "Yeah, mate, in 3 weeks' time, you have your UFC debut if the Koreans accept the fight." I was like, "Right, okay." So like, to be honest, like, to anybody else, that sounds really exciting, but to me, it was like the fourth time it happened, so it was like, I wasn't too excited. He's like, look, I'll phone you tomorrow around about 6 p.m. your time with news if they do accept. Right, okay, whatever, I'm happy with that. Then I was doing a nogi, and like it was like 6 o'clock, and there was no call. I was like, all right, whatever, it is what it is. But I'll just carry on training because it didn't bother me. And then all of a sudden, my coach Chris says, "Brett, come on side, come to the office." And I went, "Yeah, okay." So I come to the office, and he's on a Skype call with my manager, and like I'm looking at the Skype call, and behind my manager is a guy with a camera. I'm like, "Hey, Brian, what's up?" And he's like, "Oh, what's happening, Brett? We're here for basically for Prosperity MMA or something," he said. And he went, "Welcome to the UFC." And I broke down in absolute tears at the time. You know, it was a long time coming. You know, I've gone through a lot of sacrifice to get to that point, and I think it all just spilled out to me in that moment. Yeah, it was tough, man. It was really tough to kind of keep it together, but I bought my eyes out. And at the same time, my dad was just coming back from like my stepdad was just coming back from a bit of surgery on his stomach. He had like a stoma bag put in.
Yeah.
He had diverticulitis, and my dad's got my stepfather's got one leg as well. He had septicemia in his left leg. Had to get his left leg amputated. Then had diverticulitis, and had to have a stoma bag. And I think he was going through a bit of a rut, if I'm honest, where he was struggling with the terms and stuff like that. And I remember calling him up and saying, "Dad, I've made it. Like, I've got where I've got." And I definitely think it changed his whole mindset. And I think it just put him in the happiest mood. Drove all the way out to Belfast, Northern Ireland, to watch my debut. And I just remember that night after the fight being with my family and thinking, like, yes, it's an individual sport, but without my family, without my sort of like family and friends, that I wouldn't have been able to do this. And it was nice to celebrate with everybody at the time, and it was a surreal feeling. But my UFC debut is something that I'll remember to the day I die, really.
Yeah, that's awesome, in it, because you're right. Even though it is an individual sport, it's like your missus will have been through everything. We are watching you do weight cuts, and going off to training every day, a few times a day sometimes. So like you're away, you're spending time away from your family, and it's a lot of sacrifice away from you even away from your fight camps and your promotions and your training and all the stuff that you've got to do leading into a fight. It's that sacrifice that you make day in day out outside of that. So yeah, it must have been an awesome moment. What else we got? We got so many. I'm trying to like keep them all together because I've got a few football questions as well. Right, here we go. But I'll keep with the MMA ones for a minute.
Yeah, no worries.
So Johnny Wish, he's a big follower of Ace Podcast Nation. He loves the questions. He sent in a few. So he says, first question, he says, what's more satisfying, knocking someone out or a submission?
So I've got more subs on my record than knockouts. Believe it or not, my professional record, I got 2 knockouts, and I've got like something steady like 8, maybe 9 submissions. I can't. No, it's not that much. I'm not that good. Probably about maybe 7, 8 submissions, maybe. It's funny you said that because I've been a grappler my whole life. I've been really known for knocking people out, but I remember fighting a Scottish fighter called James McAllister, who probably gave me the most scariest mean mug before fight I've ever had. Scared the absolute life out of me, shit my pants, to be honest. And I stopped him with punches, and yeah, it was weird because obviously I'm known for choking people and feeling the tap out, not having the referee rip me off someone. So yeah, I'd say knockouts probably. Like, even though I've only had 2 in my career, just the thing of the referee pulling you off is a big thing, and I would definitely say knockouts. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I guess it's like 2 ways of looking at it. Like if you submit someone, they're giving up, but then equally, if the referee stops it like that, it's like you're doing too much damage almost, so they've got to intervene. So there's 2 ways to look at it, I suppose. Johnny also asks, who's the biggest prick you've ever met in the fight game?
I wasn't a big fan of Brian Ortega, to be honest.
No?
No, I weren't. No, he only because obviously like outside of fighting, he's been in a bit of trouble with like street fights with certain fans and stuff. Not that time. I remember back in May 2017, I went to like a Vegas retreat, and like I said, I'm very fashionable, and I wore a pair of like Danny Dyer skimpy shorts and a Sergio Tacchini tracksuit top. And he just looked at me stupid, and I was like, "Man, what the fuck are you wearing?" He said, and I went, "Hey, this is fashion."
Yeah.
He's like, "No, it's not. I've never met this guy before." So for him to say it, I just thought, "Whoa, this guy." And what was scary was I didn't even know who he was at the start. Didn't know who he was. Yeah, I knew.
She's just some random guy like saying something.
I was like, "Mate, I can't take no fucking fashion advice from someone who's got rips in his jeans." And like he literally had ripped jeans on. And I think when I said that, he did like some. I think there was a couple of guys who started laughing. I didn't think he liked that.
Yeah.
Even to the point where he was doing videos of me and put them on his social media. But I thought he was a bit of a dick, to be honest.
He sounds like it. But then he obviously wasn't familiar with the casual scenes, was he? So.
Oh, was he hell, man? I was gonna say, like, you know, you can't be talking about my clothes like when he's there sitting there in a pair of ripped jeans, like, and they look terrible. You know, to him they might have been fashionable, but like all due respect to the Americans, don't get that casual scene over there, do they? So
No.
the only guy that's got is that Miami casual guy, wherever the hell he is, but you know, not even he understands it properly.
Shit. I wouldn't have anyone say anything about Sergio Tacchini tracksuit tops anyway.
Oh, I love
fucking awesome.
Guy.
If you could fight one fighter, past or present, who would it be? Any weight class, just past or present.
Do you know what? Someone I'd like to fight, and my plan was when I beat Aljamain, I was going to call for it, and obviously I lost to Aljamain, and ironically he called for the same fight, and that was Dominic Cruz. You know, Dominic Cruz is a guy and it's got nothing to do with personal issues with the guy. I want to fight the best in the world, and I want to be known for the guy who, like already in my career, people say, "Do you know that Brett Jones kid, he'll fight anyone." And already that's happening. But if I had to pick like two names, one would be Dominic Cruz and the other would be Via Faber, you know, absolute legends in the sport.
Yeah.
I'd happily fight them guys because of their names and what they've done in the game. And like to me personally, I think it would be an honor to fight them guys. Nothing personal into it. Like they can take it as personal as what they want, but for me, it's like, you know, I just just get excited for fights like that, so then I can look at fighting these guys and it's right in front of me and being in there with the same guys, you know. Like I've gone over that sort of starstruck feeling when like I looked across the cage and saw Artem and Sterling. I was like, oh my god. I looked across the cage and saw Joe Soto. I was like, oh god. I looked across the cage and saw Pedro Munoz. I was like, oh god. And now like that starstruck feeling just gets watered down. So now I'm like, it don't matter who's in there really. If it's a famous guy, if it's not, I just want to go in and do my job.
Yeah. Game for a ruck.
Yeah.
So Johnny also says, he says fame, MMA, stroke all the reality TV stars fighting in MMA and this and that. Discuss. Do you know much about that? What they're doing?
I think that's what it's called, isn't it? Fame.
Yeah, fame.
It's basically a glorified white collar show, really, if you think about it. You know, these are guys who've trained for a few weeks and are reality TV stars or whatever, and they want to get in there and give it a bash. And I can't knock them. You know, it's a bit like KSI and Logan Paul, really. Can't knock them for giving it a go, but what I just don't want them doing is letting it get to their head and they somehow think they're going to be UFC champions next, because that ain't going to happen. When it comes to Aaron from Geordie Shore, now he gets a little bit more respect in my opinion, because he's a guy that actually does legitimately train, legitimately fights. Yeah, okay, he's been given some good fights for his career, but having said that, at least he turns up and he fights and he trains. So I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. But this Fame UK show, man, they'd have to pay me to go and watch that. Unfortunately, I wouldn't go as a freebie. Like,
yeah, it's not for me. I gotta be honest. Like, I just had a quick look at the card. Like, the main event is Scotty T versus TV Bear. Like, I only know who Scotty T is because my missus used to watch Geordie Shore. And then one of the other fights is a podcaster versus someone from So Solid Crew. It's like, I got no interest in that at all. Like, but I just think,
I think the guy from So Solid Crew would win because he is from So Solid Crew.
well, I say he's solid, isn't he? It's got to be, yeah, isn't it? But like, for me, it's like, you're right. You know, if they want to do it and people will watch it, great, I suppose. It's not for me. But like, yeah, I've seen like a couple like of the Geordie Shore guys like calling out some Cage Warriors fighters and stuff, and it's like they get fucking destroyed. And
I literally would like to see it happen though, just so that the reality check
well,
of them
that
in the middle of a first round was
yeah,
quite plus.
that Aaron Chalmers, I'm sure he called out Paddy Pimblett before.
Yeah, I think Paddy would have fought him, and like that's a fight that he doesn't want. I tell
No,
you,
he's got nothing to gain from it, have you?
Oh, Paddy would have a field day there.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, I don't know. Like, from Paddy's point of view, though, he's got nothing to gain from that fight because all he does is he's giving Aaron Chalmers, like, he's giving him a big fight.
Yeah.
He's giving him a foot into the door, maybe into Cage Warriors or whatever. And, like, you know, it's a fight. At the end of the day, anyone can get clipped by anyone.
Oh, of course.
And, you know, that could just be a career destroyer, couldn't it? For a top level fighter to lose to a reality TV star.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay, so what else we got? What's your view of these fighters? Tom Mearns of Bellator, Paddy Pimblett, and Tank Shaw.
Tom Mearns, I don't think I've heard of him.
Yeah, he fights in Bellator. He's the one who last year he dislocated his what was it? Dislocated his ankle, I think, or his elbow or something on the Bellator UK show. Like, it was really bad. Like,
What's his name again?
Tom Mearns.
I'll have to check him out then. Definitely.
Well, the guy, Danny, who I do the MMA show with, where we review the UFC shows, he used to fight for Cage Warriors himself, and he was featherweight champion for like 7 years or something back in the day.
Okay.
And I think he's part of his team, Tom Mearns, and they got high. I think they got some high hopes for him. Like, but
I'll definitely have a little watch of him later. 100%. Yeah.
Yeah,
I'll be honest, my Bellator knowledge isn't the best either. You know. I do like the promotion. I do, but it's I don't know the ins and outs of the company. But yeah, but like Paddy Pimblett and Tank, though, them guys I get on with really well, especially Tank. Tank has very, very similar interests that what I do as well. Like, he loves music, he loves Oasis and stuff, the same as me. I like Jerry Cinnamon and stuff. Adidas trainers and Stone Island jackets, really, and he's into all that. And we look very similar, we fight very similar, so people think we're twins, really. But yeah, he's a good guy, Jack is. In all fairness, him and his old man look out for me, and I really do appreciate it.
He had an impressive debut, didn't he?
He did, yeah. He beat the good guy, Nolene Hernandez, who's, like I said, he was a dangerous opponent for Tank in his first fight. In all fairness, Tank completely took him out of it, and it was good. It was good to finally watch him there. And I was telling months before the fight that he was going to be at that level. So for him to go in there and literally prove everybody wrong and go in there and smash it up, and I think he looked fantastic and got a nice little hefty paycheck. Would you like to hear some trivia for you?
Go on then. I always good for trivia.
4 UFC fighters in their first ever wins for the UFC. 3 of them have won bonuses on the UFC. Basically, their first ever wins of the company. Out of the 4 Welsh guys, 3 of them won bonuses for their first wins. Can you name the 3 fighters?
3 Welsh fighters.
Yeah.
So, Jack Marshman.
Yeah.
Jack Shaw.
Yeah.
And you.
No. So basically, the last one, John Phillips, right?
Oh, of course, yeah.
So basically...
2 out of 3.
Yeah. Jack Shaw won his first ever UFC debut and won a bonus. Jack Marshman on his debut won a bonus, and John Phillips obviously went on a bit of a 3-fight skid, but then on his first ever win won a bonus, and the only guy, the four of us who haven't won a bonus on their first ever win was me.
Yeah.
But then again, though, having said that, we're all the performance of the night table. We've all got one bonus each, I guess, so it's not too bad.
So what else we got? You all right for time, mate? Yeah.
Yeah, fine, eh? Yeah.
Because I know I said about hour 15, but we're up to that just about now in a minute.
Yeah,
But if you need to shoot, yeah, let's get them going. Is it right? What else we got? What would you be if you weren't an MMA fighter?
Ground worker for Cuddies.
There you go.
Because literally that was what I was doing before I'd started like full-time MMA, and I hated my job. My dream job would be like a professional like race car driver. Yeah, that would be like my dream job, like a rally driver, for get paid truckloads of money for doing it. But yeah, that would be quite cool. Yeah.
Sweet. Just to get paid loads of money to race cars. I like the sound of that as well.
Yeah.
Just drive fast everywhere. So if you had to pick one British fighter who's a future world champion in the UFC, who would it be?
Joanne Calderwood, Scottish fighter, Jojo Badmofo. I went out to Vegas, and she's engaged now to John Wood, who's the head coach in Syndicate, and I love that gym. Everybody in that gym was so friendly and so kind, and whenever I'm in Vegas next, that's like gonna be my home. All fairness, Jojo was the one who invited us over, and I thought that she won her last fight easy, but the one before that, she fought that Caitlin Chuchigan, and she's fighting for the title next against Valentina
Shevchenko.
Shevchenko. But I genuinely thought that Joanne Calderwood won that fight. I genuinely thought she did. I think she did enough to win the fight, but turns out the judges didn't think so. But I think Jojo is closer than what we all think, and it'd be amazing to see her be the first Scottish UFC champion. I'd love that for her, because she's such a person, and her and John really looked after me when I was out there. So I only wish good things for them both in the future, really.
Shout. It's a good answer. Let's have a look what else we got. So Johnny asks again, have you ever been arrested? Random questions.
Comment.
No comment. I think that's probably a good answer, mate.
No, I'll say. Yeah, I had one time where I did get arrested, and for basically getting falsely pointed out for assaulting someone, and turns out they got completely got it mixed up. But as you can probably tell, being in a close environment with other people, and you've got cauliflower ears and a fight that happens, they automatically assume it's going to be you.
Yeah.
And turns out that the guy was completely wrong, and I had to go to court for it as well. And thankfully, they all saw that it wasn't me, and obviously on CCTV that I wasn't involved in any of that. And, obviously got falsely arrested, but nothing major to talk about there really, other than the fact being the wrong place at the wrong time. And it was an experience, though.
I bet.
It was an experience, but yeah, that was the one time it happened, and.
You know what it was, don't you? It was Jack Shaw. It was Jack Shaw. See, he looks like you. It's him.
It was epic. I think I saw him in the crowd actually thinking about it. But like I said, it was one of them things, and like I said, my mother drove all the way up to Thai police station up in North Wales to pick me up, and but it's all good. It happened. Obviously, it was. In the end, it was all good news, and thankfully, everybody thought the same. And it's all good. Obviously, I don't regret any of it. I haven't complained or anything. In my opinion, it was perfect. At the end of the day, it was one of the experiences that I don't want to happen again. But at least I get to say I've done it, and it's like just like any fight, really.
Yeah. What's the weirdest thing you've ever witnessed a celebrity or a fighter doing, like at an after party, or just general backstage, or that type of thing? Celebrities being celebrities, I guess.
I I think I got about maybe three stories which are like quite class.
Excellent.
The first time was my first ever time in Vegas, being in a VIP bar on one of the super clubs in Las Vegas, Encore. Hitting Artem Rob off with a pillow while he was paralytic drunk. That was one of them. The second time was when I was walking through a street in New York. I think it was like one of the ones with the top designer stores on. I walked the street, and me and my brother got this game. And I wasn't in a particularly good mood because it was like 4 or 5 days after the Artem Sterling fight. Walking through New York, and me and my brother got this game where my brother would say, "Oh look, David Beckham's over there," and I look over. And it's funny because the guy looks like David Beckham. So he comes over, and we start walking the street, and he goes, "Oh look there, Adam Sandler." And I looked over, and Adam Sandler was standing right in front of me. And I looked at him, and I think he saw the shock in my face. So he come up and fist bumped me and my brother. A moment that I will
awesome.
never ever forget.
That's really cool, though, isn't it?
Getting fist bumped by Adam Sandler is definitely up there with one of the.
I like that.
But yeah, that was another one, and also like I'm a massive fan of a football player called Ollie McBurney who plays for Sheffield United now, and we were watching the McGregor Khabib fight, and I saw him walking through Wine Street with his friends, looking for a place to like kind of watch the fight. And I said, "Look, we got a VIP booth in Walkabout." My mate Rob Nangalia really looked after us then. You know, he's now the manager at Pop World and stuff now, but he's good as gold. Rob's a great guy. And he called us in, and I said, "Oh, look, Rob, is it right if Ollie McBurney comes?" And Rob was a big Swans fan. And he ended up saying, "Yeah, bring him in." So I got absolutely paralytic drunk. And the next morning, Rob phoned me up and said, "I had one of the best nights as a manager last night." He said UFC fighter Brett Johns was passed on the floor, and he had Ollie McBurney looking after him. So that was the other show. But I'm really close with Ollie, and he's a fantastic. He scored the equaliser against Man United a few days ago when they drew.
Yeah, that's right. He did, didn't he?
Yeah, I'm absolutely chuffed for him, man. He's such a great guy, and you know, he's and not only that, he's a jock as well. So I love the Scottish. But
Yeah.
It was amazing. It was amazing to watch him play for the Swans. Obviously, he's in the Premiership with Sheffield now, but fingers crossed. I'd like to see him play Cardiff one time anyway.
I don't want to see that. So this is the last MMA question.
Okay.
And it's quite an interesting one, actually. It's what would your advice be for a teenager whose parents are reluctant to let them train in MMA or like martial arts generally?
Oh, do you mean like my parents?
No. What would you advise? What would you advise a teenager who wants to train wants to start training in martial arts or whatever or MMA, but his parents are a bit not sure about whether to let him or.
Basically, that's me. That is who was asking that question. But when I first started,
Is it?
my mother wasn't a big fan of net, and I think it took me years of constantly asking for her to be like, "Okay, let him go for it," you know. You know, your parents are only there to look out your best interest, and at the end of the day, if you're training really hard, I guess they're gonna like that. At least you're gonna make self-defense or whatever. But I would 100%, you know, get involved in training martial arts. And if you want to go down that route, then you need to have a proper sit down and explain to your parents rather than just say, "I want to fight." You know, you got to approach that conversation with a bit more ease, telling your own mother and father that you want to get face punched in the cage if
Yeah.
their point of view, you can understand their concerns and stuff. But you know, just in my opinion, with the time where they're saying no, they're not happy, just keep training. You'll just get you that little bit of extra bear, and eventually, in my opinion, they're gonna have to say yes somehow. So, you know, the more you ask, the more they are to persuade. So, just keep asking, and but more importantly, keep training really hard. You know, that's what I did for 2 years before. I asked my mother for 2 years straight before I could get in there. And when I got in there, she came to watch my first fight, and then she realized, you know, okay, he knows what he's doing. He's doing really well. And that was the end of that. Then.
Nice. All right. Same person asks, have you got any regrets?
Regrets. My career. Like even like obviously, the Algernon fight would be one where like I wish I was mentally switched on. Regretted it though. No, I learned a lot. I know it sounds so cliche. I hate saying this. They say like fighters. They say that when you learn a lot. You know, you either win or you either learn. But my opinion, it was just mental. I didn't learn anything. And the only thing I kind of thought was, don't have your head switched on. You're gonna lose. And yeah, I regret that. I regret the way the fight went, but I don't regret doing the fight, having the camp, doing the weight cut, doing the actual fight. But one of the best fighters on the planet, for God's sake. So, I'll keep my chin up there, but no regrets really. And what?
Good stuff. So I got there's a couple of questions on football, and then we're through them all pretty much. But just before that football one, there was one. Where's it gone? They want you to recommend one film and one TV show to watch.
Oh, and these are the questions I love. These are the questions. Right. So it depends on what sort of genre they want to watch. Like for example, comedies, which is one of my favorite things. The Other Guys.
Okay.
Mark Wahlberg, Will Ferrell, two coppers in New York. I can literally that film would for an hour and a half solid. I got a couple of friends who were like obviously involved in like biker gangs, like biker clubs. Sorry, the words are not biker gangs, not gangs. And I love watching I love my favorite series to watch was The Sons of Anarchy. I love that series. That is absolutely amazing. I haven't watched any of the new ones yet, but I love watching Sons of Anarchy. That was an absolutely fantastic series. So if I said you got to watch a Brett Johns sort of like diary, then series wise you want to be watching Sons of Anarchy. And comedies, The Other Guys, Talladega Nights, Step Brothers, anything with Will Ferrell in, Anchorman. I love them films.
Yeah, good shout to all of them. So, are you going to the Euros when it starts?
Yeah, I will be. Yeah, obviously it does depend on fights, and at the end of the day, as much as I look like I'm having a lot of life, which I really am, it just completely depends on fights. If I can get the right fights to start the Euros, then yeah, I'll crack on. I'll definitely go. Definitely, I've got a few different destinations. I'll have to get the price list for, but it's going to cost me a lot. So I'm hoping the next time I'm going to get a good decent anyway.
Yeah, they're all over the place, aren't they? They're like in three different places or something.
St. Petersburg, so
be interesting.
That'll be fun.
Yeah. So how far Jack and Wales will go in the Euros?
Honestly, I don't think it's going to be anything like France 2016. Although, and I will say this, the last sort of like two games they played really well, and I definitely see them doing okay. I'd be very happy if they got the group in the group stage. I'd be happy to see that. Whether or not we hit the semi-finals or even win it this time is a bit of an ask.
Yeah, I think it's asking a lot in there to do it again. The one thing I will say though, they got the young squad which Wales have got, and even some of the boys in the in the under 21s, they're so good. There's a lot of quality young players, but I just think you might be asking them a bit much to perform at the level that like Bale and Ramsey and Robson Kanu and that did.
They got good mentors there, like you said. Then they got Bale, they got Ramsey, they got Hennessy and goals. Like Ben Davis is now slotting in that mentor role. And then you got the up and comers. You got people like Rodon. You got people like Connor Roberts, Dan James. There's a lot of young guys. Tom Lawrence, Harry Wilson, all these guys. And all fairness, it's amazing to watch them boys play. I'm a massive fan of Welsh football, as everyone knows. It's just hell of an experience, really, and to be there when they play and listen to that national anthem go on, it's just takes your breath away. It really does.
It does. It is special, isn't it?
Special, very special.
So, last question: Ryan Giggs, is he doing a good job or a bad job?
like I'll be honest. At first, I was a massive Chris Coleman fan. So for someone to step into his boots, I just thought they were kind of pissing in the wind, really. When they said Giggs, I think everybody kind of was like, "Oh, Giggs," but Giggs was known for not really doing much with his own international team, really, and I think that was on a lot of people's thoughts. But he seems to have a good little control over the team he's got, and yes, there was bad times. Like I think when Wales did that double away stunt in Croatia and Hungary, there were 2 losses there, and I think people were starting to chant Giggs out and stuff. But yeah, it is what it is. At the end of the day, he's I'm not sure what Coleman's doing. I know he was with a Chinese team, but thinking about it, I think Giggs is the right man for the minute. And I guess when Chris Coleman first stepped in, he didn't exactly have a good start. So you just gotta see what happens here. At the end of the day, Giggs has actually got us back into the Euros, and we just need to wait and see what happens from here.
Yeah, he's done. One thing he's done is he's done a cracking job with the young players.
Yeah.
And like what people got to remember is Wales have only qualified twice for the Euros. Ever. And so it is an achievement because people questioned whether he did the right thing when he dropped like Ashley Williams. I know Ashley Williams is back in. He dropped Robson Kanu, these experienced players who had done it at the Euros. So, he did what he wanted to do. He did it his way, and he did it.
He's got his own little method of doing it, and like I said, he's got the job. He's got the job to do it. In all fairness, he's in control. And in all fairness, I think he's okay. I think I saw a couple of statuses a few months back, or when he first signed up, Giggs out. But let's give him the benefit of the doubt and see what happens from there.
Yeah, get behind him.
Yeah.
Right, we're getting late now, Brett. I can't thank you enough, mate, for giving me like over an hour and a half of your time. I appreciate it massively. Tell the people where they can find you on social media, and tell them the deets about your fight and stuff.
So basically, I'm on all sorts of social media: Twitter at 36johns, on Facebook, and on Instagram at Brett Johns MMA. Basically, the next fight is out in North Carolina, the 25th of January 2020. Fighting Tony Gravelli, a newcomer to the UFC, and I'm really looking forward to it. Also, just a quick shout out to Watchers of Wales in Cardiff, the Bridge Stangenich, Beck Clever, Wise Property Investments with Luke, Tatami, Beck Clever, all them guys, they're amazing. And there's a few more sponsors that are coming to help me out on my way to North Carolina, and I will be doing a separate post to them guys next week now after the grappling fight tomorrow night in Ponteller. So busy few weeks. Absolutely.
And you can catch me on Twitter, guys, at ACEcast_nation, Facebook.com/ACEcastNation. And obviously all our shows are available in video at YouTube.com/ACEpodcastnation. Please give us a subscribe, because that's the best way to support the channel and help us keep growing, getting awesome guests like Brett. And obviously the audio versions are available at all the usual podcasting platforms. And also check out www.awaydayapparel.co.uk for your awesome casual clobber. Brett, it's been a pleasure, mate. Thank you ever so much for joining me, mate. I can't thank you enough. Good luck with the fight. And if you want to come back on after your fight, mate, you're more than welcome.
100%,
anytime.
100%. So thanks for having me, mate. And
Top man. Cheers, Brett.